All right, we're live. All right, man.
All right.
Bryan, welcome. Good to see you, man.
What's up?
Fellow brother in the line of fire of this door-to-door industry, man. Tell us about where you're coming from.
Yeah, dude, coming from 6 going on 7 years. There we go. Going on 7 years of door-to-door.
Really?
Yeah.
7? Yeah, and by the way, you can move that mic. You can
Okay.
It's totally movable. Just watch the cup, obviously, but yeah, if you need to adjust it, these little arms are cool to move around.
Yeah, I'm okay leaning in.
Yeah, 7 years. What was your first? What was your gateway in? What's kept you here so long?
Yeah, dude, obviously the opportunity. It's crazy because I tell my wife, I tell all my friends, I don't know what an hourly job is. I just don't understand the concept, And the story I give to everybody is, imagine if I told you, hey, Thomas, for 1 hour, I get to tell you what to do. Anything, right? You can massage my back. You got to grab some pizza for me. You
Straight
gotta,
up.
whatever you want, whatever I want to do, you have to do it. Right. And the catch is let's say you sweep the house, you get me some pizza, rub my back. And at the end of it, I'm like, hey, here's $15.
Yeah.
That's literally what an hourly job is.
It is, yeah.
And I just don't understand the whole hourly thing because you're always begging for more hours.
Yeah.
I actually got turned down at Chick-fil-A.
No way.
So that's actually my introduction to door to door.
Man, I can't see that. You look like you'd be perfect.
Yeah, I'd be a my pleasure type of guy.
Man, my mentor said the same thing. The way he put it was kind of how you're saying. He said that an hourly job is another man putting a price tag on an hour of your life. It's someone telling you how much an hour's worth of your work is worth. And the worst job is that you could be at a job where somebody works on their phone and they're not paying attention and they're lazy and they're on the phone, and then you're busting your butt trying to do your absolute best, yet you're both going to walk away with the same value of time. And so is that kind of what you're alluding to,
yeah,
your effort?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you get to write your own check.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I was devastated. I remember this was 2016. I graduated 2016, and I was desperate to look for a job. And they just opened up a spot here in Palmdale, Chick-fil-A. That place was new. And I remember all my buddies going out there to Chick-fil-A, try to apply. I mean, that was the dream job, right? You get discounts. And
2016 was that year for Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
It was coming.
It was coming. The manager was there, so he was trying to hire as many young people. And they did a group interview sort of a style. So they got 25 people in one room. They did activities. And from those 25, they got down to 10. I made the cut to those 10. From those 10, they got down to 5. And from those 5, they were only going to hire 2 to 3 people.
Wow.
Which was crazy because I remember, driving out 20 minutes from Lancaster to Palmdale to get this Chick-fil-A job. And, turns out they hired 2 girls that already had experience in Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, that's not fair, I'm 18 years old. I have no experience. And that just devastated me. This company, SunPower, was at a job fair, and the pitch basically was where you can work as hard as you want, put as many hours as you want, and you get $350 to $500 if they close. So I did the math in my head. Okay, I could do this, And we had a couple of buddies. So the way they hired us, they hired 5 guys. Funny enough, we were the original 5 guys.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it was me, Kyle. Kyle and me, if he's listening to this, he's got a kid now. I think Alex Boyd and some other guy. And they dropped us off in a neighborhood and said, hey, go figure it out. No script training, no objection handling, just go figure it out. Wow. And my first week, I sucked. I did not get any sales. My second week, I got probably 5 appointments. And they all sticked. They all closed.
Dude, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome story
and
right
then
there.
we're on the group me. I don't know if you guys know what group me is.
That's what we use.
We're on the group me. And I just see Alex Boyd's name removed off the group me. George off the group me. Some other guy off the group me. And it's just me and Kyle. And I'm worried, am I going to keep my job? Turns out that week, they were testing us out to see who would stick it out, make the cut, get the sales. It turns out these other guys were putting in fake names, fake appointments just to get paid hourly. And I was doing everything I could to
Wait. How does that work? What do you mean?
So we used to have like a slick.
Okay.
And you would fill like their name out, their phone number, their email.
For a lead?
For a lead, yeah.
Okay.
Appointment time. This is old school. This is like a slick paper. You're just setting appointments.
I did that once in a door-to-door. But you're saying that was your hourly pay if you had sets, like leads?
No, you just clock in, clock out.
Oh, so you had hourly?
Yeah, we had hourly.
Oh, what was it?
Yeah,
2016?
I don't know. Probably $13 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Did they cover your gas, or did you got dropped off?
They covered our gas. So we had like car groups. So I would go out with a guy called Kyle, and we would have to divide and conquer. But what was so interesting was I never was the guy who excelled right away. I was always like the late bloomer. But I remember seeing these other guys get taken off the group me and thought like, I'm next. The next day, my manager, his name's Kevin Hernandez. He actually lives out here. Has a conversation with me and Kyle. He's like, "Congratulations, boys, you made it."
Wow.
We had no idea what was going on.
Uh-huh.
And I remember that made me feel like, okay, cool, I made the cut. And that was literally the introduction to the career.
I could do this.
I could do this.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. Yeah, a lot of people can't get past that slump. Because I'm sure that conversation they had with the other guys that got cut out, it was probably when your back's against the wall, you sink or swim.
Yeah.
You find the dog in you, or you leave with your tail between your legs. That's cool. And then what do you remember any other significant challenges you faced? And like, have you ever left door to door and come back, or you've just like, what's the journey been?
Dude, I've always done door to door. Even during 2020 pandemic, there was one company that was still doing solar over the phone. Mm-hmm. So I was new to, cold calling. But I remember I was this new guy, and I got so many deals my first week that the guy next to me got a little jealous and says, "Are you sticking to the script?" I said, "Hell no. Why am I going to stick to the script? I'm going to say what works."
That's so true. What kind of a question is that? Hey, are you following the rules?
Are you following the rules? Are you, And I'm like, dude, like,
silly.
We just want these to close, right? Okay, cool. I'm going to say whatever it takes to get them to close. And, it was COVID time, so rough times. I got laid off, and I was actually driving back from Ontario to Lancaster for this job. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of hard.
Well, what were you doing different? What was it that like was separating you from like whatever their pitch was? Was it like your personality? Were you breaking the ice differently? Do you remember?
Yeah. So at that time, I had no idea what I was doing, but. Have you guys seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Oh, yeah. It's my favorite.
Okay, I'm not advertising here for that movie. You might want to press the fast forward button.
But on like the whole movie.
Yeah.
My parents had Clear Play where like you pre-install the scenes to get cut out.
VidAngel's a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
VidAngel.
Yeah.
There you go. Wolf of Wall Street on VidAngel. That's what we recommend.
Yes. So Leonardo DiCaprio did a perfect demonstration. Guys looking for a job. He tells his wife, "I'm going to make it," and does penny stocks. And he finds out what his commission is, and he's like, "So you're telling me I could make this much commission if I sell for this, and I get to write my own paycheck?" And that's kind of the idea, right?
Yeah.
So he gets on the phone, and he's literally he's leaning in, he's picturing the customers there with them, and he's playing with his tonality. So Ms. Jones, let me tell you what we have here. So I had no idea what I was doing, right? I was playing around with my tone. I was reeling customers in and, getting them slammed in. And I had fun. I had so much fun.
That was solar.
Oh, yeah.
Just checking it. That was solar?
That was solar, yeah.
Wow. Well, that's really all you got to do is have that confidence. Because, what you're doing is you're getting everything good with the camera? Did we lose one?
He had a phone call pop up.
Oh, okay. Did it mess with the video?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Do you want to turn him on Do Not Disturb? Do you know how to do that? Pull down the right corner of his screen. Click the moon. Who called him? One of his girlfriends? Oh, your boyfriend? We're in the same thing. You want to turn mine on Do Not Disturb too? Will that work? Hopefully we don't. Is it going to mess with the camera angle? Okay. I'm paranoid if you tap the screen, it moves it around. Technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
Commercial break. Right.
Okay. All right. So that was solar. And I think that's a lot of big things that it sounds like your teammates and people don't realize is that, especially that first interaction, it's not really solar that they're buying. it's really you. And so, yeah, if you can find whatever can get your personality and the trust across to the homeowner, when a closer comes, then he'll sell the solar. But if you can sell yourself first, it really comes with transparency, honesty, trust, confidence, curiosity, all those things that really gets a homeowner intrigued by you. And that's what's going to lock them in, like 100%. For the deal.
100%. It'd be to the point where, we'd set a deal and the customer would rave about us, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, is Bryan and Kyle going to get a cut out of this, right? We love him, And, I love Palmdale. I love Lancaster. It has so many memories. We used to set our own personal goals. Me and Kyle, we used to say, okay, if we get, 3 appointments today, we're going to splurge for sushi. Mm-hmm. We get 10 deals by the week. We're going to go to Firehouse Subs. Little silly stuff. We're going to go to the movies in Santa Clarita. We're going to go shopping. It was fun, man. It was cool to, set those appointments, get paid, and then, just go spend money on cool stuff. And that's what I love about sales, the freedom. You literally get to write your own paycheck. You get to set your own time. Like if I don't want to work today, I don't have to. I don't have my manager calling me in, are you going to work, right? It's just the coolest thing in the world. And, I give a huge shout out to any manager, salesperson who's out there working and busting their butt. That's literally what it takes. So,
well, speaking of hours, what were your hours? What did you guys usually use as a work week?
Yeah, so typically we'd be at the doors at 2:30 and we'd be done by 8:30.
Okay, that's pretty typical. What about now?
Sounds cool.
You're managing a team now.
Yeah, now it's changed. So if you think getting into management is going to give you more freedom of time, it's not the case. I'm up and at the office by 11:30, and from 11:30 to 12, those 30 minutes, you have newer reps just role playing, pitching, and just role playing, going after their pitch. 12 o'clock to 1, 12 o'clock to 12:30, we're doing meetings, correlation. So we have one of our guys go up there, share training on personal development, or even how he crushed it the last day. And then we have our hoorah. We're coming together. We're shouting. That's probably my favorite part. And then, man, we're splitting into car groups and we're leaving, and it's just high energy. We're out there. I have this sense where if I'm not knocking by 1:30, I'm going nuts.
Yeah. It itches out of you.
Oh yeah, man. Cause you might miss, you've been doing this for long that you'll find people who, I would have done it if you would have been here like 30 minutes ago.
Oh man, that's so true.
That's the worst
feeling.
Yeah. Well, I like to say the hardest part of my job is perfect timing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you feel that moment where it's like, dude, if I was just here a little earlier. That actually happened last night. It was perfect for us. We had these 2 daycares that they were just, they were little harder shells to crack, and they wanted to like read through and stuff, because it wasn't like we were just closing one. They were kind of in tangent with each other. And so then yesterday, Gideon hits me. I was like, hey, let's go follow up and like ask her about like, moving it forward. And so we knocked, nobody's home. But then right next door, there was a lady with the lights on, and she was just chilling in the front. I was like, there's an opportunity. Let's walk over there. And then Gideon walks up. Hey, how's it going? He just starts laying down a pitch, real saucy, real smooth. It was actually, 9:30?
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Yep.
Yeah, well, while we're sitting there, those, 10 minutes, boom, the homeowner from next door walks behind us because they had just went on a walk around the block with the family. And right there, I just backed away, walked to her, say, hey, how you doing? Have you read through it? Oh, we didn't get a chance to read through it. Let's follow up this Friday. We're ready to go. And we're like, wow, like if we didn't show up and then not only see an opportunity to pitch, the homeowner would have never caught them walking behind us, because we really need to give that door 10 minutes to wake up, because when we first got there, it was dead. But if we didn't chase an opportunity with the neighbor, the trust it built with us, literally like, oh yeah, we're just working with your neighbor as well right here. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm missing out. Let me get you guys back here,
Yep.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fire.
Yeah, timing's everything. And you don't want to be that guy that, wakes up late, shows up to the office late, gets to hood late, or you're at the gas station, right, kind of taking a break. And I've just done this for so long, you realize that if it's not you, it's somebody else's deal. And might as well be me, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's good.
might as well be me. So I just have that mindset, and bro, I still get upset, right? I show up 30 minutes late, 10 minutes late, somebody else signs them up, and you're done.
Okay.
You know, even with the nighttime, if you leave early, you're basically giving yourself a pay cut. So yeah, time is a window of opportunity. That's the way I see it. And the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, volume negates luck.
Yeah.
That's good. What would you say the latest you guys, like when do you guys push for late, staying out late?
So yeah, I mean, we're out there till like 9:30 sometimes. I think my latest deal I got done by like 10, like almost 10:50.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's only because customers don't want you to leave. They're inviting you to eat. But leaving that door after 10:50, you're like,
well, yeah, because they're comfortable with you.
Yeah.
It locks it in more solid than any of the others.
yeah.
We like being out late. It works. We were just at what was that, 10:30 as well?
Yeah, it's 10:30 for our close. Yep. It was awesome. Really good. I mean, didn't it, and my very first close, you closed at like what, 11?
11:30.
11:30? Yeah.
We're almost there till midnight. And yeah, that's just because, again, hardest part of our job is timing. And so we literally been preaching it to each other and hopefully broadcasting it, is that a lot of people are losing a lot of easy layup deals because they're going home early. And we've kind of tested it out that you're going to get both deals early and late. But we have found that where you talk about saturation in the job, more people have been willing to go out earlier in this job than people have been willing to stay out later. And so we're trying to flip the coin and see, okay, we're going to be the dogs, the late night scavengers. And we have found a lot of really low-hanging fruit just being in the neighborhood longer. And that kind of comes with the fact that we moved here. Because when we were commuting to our turfs, we couldn't stay out here longer than 9:30 without getting home at midnight. And so when God gave us this opportunity to move in the middle of our turf, where like we walk out, this is our door knocking, it's no sweat off our back to stay out till 11:30 midnight if it's necessary, because we live around the corner.
Yeah,
you know?
you're done at 11:30, and you could be home in 5 to 10 minutes.
Exactly.
You know, it's just a no-brainer. And what's crazy, if you have that hourly mindset, you want extra hours. You want to be out at 10 or 11 because you want to get an extra $15 or $16 an hour, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So for us, if you're out for an extra hour or an extra hour or two, I mean, we're talking about good money.
That's true. Why do you
Yeah.
think that is? When people jump to commission job, we forget that working more hours will get you paid more.
Yeah, I think people can't. It's just this idea of discipline is freedom. I don't know if you've heard of Jocko Willink,
yeah.
the big
Oh,
military
remember
guy.
what was that one
that
video
guy.
where it's like,
Good.
good,
Good.
car won't start, good,
Good.
ankle's broken, good, mom's dead, good. You ever seen that video?
Yeah, I've seen that video. Yeah.
We played that video in the office.
Yeah.
I can't even count, hundreds of times.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
quoting it.
I
Lock
love that
in,
video, man.
reloaded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ignore and outperform.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so what about Jocko?
Yeah, I've read both of his books, Extreme Ownership, Dichotomy of Leadership. And he has this idea where freedom is taking on more responsibility. And the idea of like, okay, I'm going to be disciplined. And my wife knows it. It's also important to have like a good partner that knows your hours, respects the hours, and or girlfriend or friends. A lot of the time my parents would even say, I mean, your hours are just maniacal. And they really weren't. Like I'm out at 1:30 knocking doors. It got to the point now with my wife, and I'm at a different skill level where I can get a couple of deals, and spend some time with the wife. But my hours are pretty consistent. 1:30 to 8:30 every day, no matter what. Sky's falling. You will get a bad phone call. You will get a tire pop. Yesterday was a perfect example. You will get something crazy is going to happen, but you just have to stick to those hours. And if you stick to those hours, like something will come of it.
Yeah, you'll get rewarded.
100%.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it's but some people also take this job, and once you reach that level of talent, then people kind of coast where you don't have to work those extra hours. And that could be the difference. Like if you go out later, like 8:30 plus, all the way to like 10, 11 o'clock, like that could be the difference between 50, 100K.
That's
easy.
very true.
Like,
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out why it is. Like once you, I think people do that in all walks of life, huh? That you get, what is it, complacency? Is that the word?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, I was preaching this to the guys that maintaining is exhausting. Like I'll tell you one thing: people think that working hard and working late is exhausting. 100% not. What is exhausting is doing the same thing over and over again, putting no new effort. Building something, that's what's exciting. When you feel like you're reaching new heights, when you feel like you're experimenting, when you feel like you're constantly pushing yourself, like when you work out, man. If you're not going to the gym and looking to hit a max once a week or working to, you know, get your PR up or something like that, and you're just going to the gym, doing the same exact exercise, the same exact weight, you're going to walk away more exhausted and less enthusiastic about the gym than if you're going to the gym and you're chasing some sort of goal, you know?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
No progress. No.
Yeah, no progress. Yeah, it's serious. Yeah, building is exciting, but maintaining is exhausting. I think people, like you're saying,
that's fire. That's a fire quote. Yeah,
and like you're saying, Gideon, that when you get a skill level, that doesn't mean that the work effort should drop. You know, because everybody's got to know hard work will always be talent.
When talent isn't working hard.
That's right. When 100%. Talent don't work hard. So what happens when talent works hard, man? You know, that's where millionaires are made. That's where fathers of like tribes are made, like 10, 12 kids. Or you've got 3 kids that are all, you know, owning companies. Like that's honestly what I dream. I dream of a legacy one day where, and I think that's what I want for this whole team is that we don't just hire guys to chase paychecks. We hire guys that are chasing a legacy, to have a bloodline that multiplies, that is fruitful, where everything you touch is littered with just hard work, maximum effort, and you can just display that anything that you've done, you've worked hard every single time. You can be an hourly job even and achieve something like that. But I really like that at our age, when we have a commission job, I'm sure we all have stories. Like when you earn those paychecks, like you said, you write your own check. No one else gets the credit, but your hard work for it. It feels very different, I think. And so when it comes to you managing, what kind of goals do you have when it comes to like the team? Like how do you gauge your success? And also, can you walk me through like how did you guys build this team? How did you recruit? What kind of how did you get to where you're doing right now?
Yeah, so obviously there's levels to this, right? And it's just so exciting because, you know, when you first start out, you're a rookie. You have no idea what you're doing. You're getting your face kicked in. You're getting rejections. You're getting not interesteds, and you're dealing with that aspect of it. And then you go through that training period. You know your pitch. You know your approach. You know how to handle objections, and you get good at it. And then suddenly you see some level of consistency, right? You're getting 2 a week, 3 a week, and this isn't alarms, right? Solar's probably different. But then you get some consistency, and then you know, okay, cool, I can do 3 in a week. Cool, I can expect this much amount every week. This is great. I remember the first time I made $1,000 in one week. I thought I was the richest man in the world, right?
Yeah,
I would walk in. It feels great. And I remember walking into a family party, and my aunt told me, "What do you do for work? You got paid $1,000 a week, working 30 hours?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do sales." Mm-hmm. And then you get from 1,000, and you think, okay, if I just get one more sale, I can bump it up to 1,500. Okay, if I get one more sale, I'm bumping it up to $2,000. So it's really exciting to be a sales rep, and that just, you know, like we talked about, set your own goals, set your expectations, and then see that check consistently. Because if you want to be taken seriously in this industry, you have to be consistent.
Oh yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. You know, I would always see these new guys have a big week, and then just the next week they would take the week off or not even work. And I would see them as high as they went up, they would come down. I was never that guy. I was always the guy consistently doing 3 every single week. And at the end of the month, they were like, "Bryan, you did what this month? Like, we didn't see that coming." I'm like, "Of course you didn't." Like, it's just the quiet consistency that nobody sees.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, for sales, there's levels to this. There's a sales rep, and then you become what we call like a mentor, where now you can look at the other sales rep and you could say, "Hey, here's how I got here." But you have sales rep, and then you have top rep. And I think it's really, really important to become that top rep, because you just walk different, you talk different, your status of living just changes and elevates you. People treat you differently. So as a manager, I look at these stages and I think, okay, I have a rookie. I have a person who's just starting. I have to give them a lot of tender love and care. and talk them off the ledge sometimes and say, hey, man,
Oh,
don't.
yeah. Oh,
Have you ever done that? Those late night phone calls?
There's a guy sitting right next to you, man. This dude, he is very determined, but when the results don't play out, all he needs is support. All he needs is like someone to fill the gas tank. And this kid, I don't know, we were talking about another podcast, but he went almost 5 to 6 weeks without a deal. And then I don't know what it was, but mainly it was his confidence, the chest thing you're talking about. It clicked, and he could probably tell it better than I could, but literally just the other week, he had 6 deals in a week.
It's crazy,
and
man.
Last week he had 2.
Huge. And
the week before that he had 2. And now he's literally at this moment our most consistent guy. And there was one point where me and him were talking like, man, I hope we didn't bring him out here to fail. I hope he doesn't get discouraged. Like we were, I wouldn't say we had like a ledge, like you weren't like going to quit, but you definitely were discouraged where you were coming home and.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was really rough, but I just knew I had to just keep going no matter, because I knew coming into this job, it was going to be this way, and it was going to happen. I just had to just keep going and just, the hours I put in, hard work I put it in, success will come. And it did, and I just want to continue to just be Mr. Consistent week in, week out, That's part of the job, right? Where
did that belief come from? Did your brother instill that in you, or did that come from like another influence? Do you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, just influence in general, and just like, Goggins mentality, just like all these people that just talk about like hardships in life, all these people in worse conditions, that was able to just persevere, in the, in adversity, when they dealt with such, crazy adversity, and they would just bounce back and then just be successful. It's like I want to, let me write my own story in that way, and so that's what I wanted to do. And I mean, 6 deals 1 week was great, and then next week just staying consistent, and I just want to, keep going, just want to work my way up to the top.
Just I love that. I don't even think.
Let's go.
I don't even think you realize it. It's a very godly mentality. What you said, kind of hidden in that, there's really a motivation right there. It's very motivation. What was hidden in there is you said that there are people in worse situations, and what that shows is that you have a very grateful mindset. You're counting the blessings, saying, "Look, there's been other people that have this opportunity, and they've had it worse than I have. Look at what I have, the resources I have," and you literally had that belief and faith that from what God has given me to do this job, there's no reason that I will not eventually succeed because other people have had it worse. That's a great way to think about it.
And to his point, we've literally hired homeless people.
Yeah.
Like, no joke.
Wow.
Like, one of the guys that I invested in and that I showed so much love, his name is Josh, and he actually works Victorville, Aspiria area. And I remember just having a conversation with him, and he was like, yeah, when I got hired in this job, I was homeless. I was living in my car. And, grandma kicked me out, and I was just showering at a gym. And I thought it was crazy. And his whole thing was, I wanted to move up in the company, car wash business, those car washes where you kind of go through. I wanted to move up, but there was a lot of politics involved, and I just couldn't move up unless I was friends with the owner or the manager, and it just didn't pan out. And what's amazing at this job is, there really isn't politics in play. It's just your progress, and it's your production speaks volumes. You just want to be the clear choice. And I knew if I was the top rep, that I would be the clear choice for management, because, you want to be, there's this book called So Good They Can't Ignore You. You want to just be that good where it's just, your production speaks volumes.
Wow. Yeah. Well, who's that by?
Oh, man, it's this guy.
Is it Simon Sinek? That guy?
It's not Simon Sinek. I got to get you the author, but I read it years ago.
Be so good they can't ignore you?
Yeah, So Good They Can't Ignore You.
That sounds like that's a great title. I want to pick that up.
100%.
It's a consistency. Like, what's the thesis?
Yeah, he talks about how, there's this idea of, I heard it from my dad, right? Hey, son, you want to find a job, you want to do what you love. And it's this idea of like, follow your passion. And I think it's just such a faulty statement, because if I was chasing my passion, then I'd probably be doing a whole nother career, right?
Yeah.
What you want to do is, whatever you're doing right now, is you want to give it your 100% commitment, get so good at it that eventually you fall in love with the process, you fall in love with the actual job. And that's literally my story, door to door. Like, I had no other option. Door to door was my only opportunity for work. But I decided I'm going to get so good at this that, I fell in love with it. So that's kind of the idea.
That's fire. I don't think anyone, goes about their life and thinks, yeah, I want to grow up and be knocking doors for a living. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a crazy avenue, you know. And it's like, you know, to get business like that, and it, you know, kind of a very direct way of getting your business by knocking on people that you have no idea who they are. You've never talked to them before. It's honestly crazy what we do.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said. That you said, man, I think that you said that, I don't know if you said you had no other avenue, or like, how did you say door to door was the only job? Like, you kind of put your back against the wall, like you wouldn't make it unless you did well here.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So the way I looked at it, my first rejection was Chick-fil-A. I probably put in 60 applications and none of them got seen.
Dude, that's tough.
None of them got noticed.
Wow.
My only callback was Chick-fil-A. So I thought, if I can't get that job, this sales job is all I got, which is the best thing that could have ever happened, because when you only have one option, back against the wall, you're forced to think into the commitment mentality, right? Where the grass is greener, like we talked about, where you plant it.
Right.
So I started seeing paychecks coming in. Okay, cool. If I set 5 appointments, here's how much I'm going to make. If I set, my best week was 10. If I set 10 in a week, then here's my paycheck. And I remember looking at my friends that would work tons of hours hourly. I would ask them like, hey dude, what did you make this week? Oh, I made like 600. And I'm like, what? I made that on one sale.
Dude, yeah. It really changes when you get someone's weekly.
And I had fun.
And I had fun.
I literally signed up like one of the branch managers at Wells Fargo.
Wow.
Like, I met here in Palmdale, and he was like, what do you do for work? This is what I do. And he's like, you should like get into real estate. And that was the coolest thing. I'm like, okay, I'm doing something that is respectable, honorable. I'm having fun. I'm laughing. I'm having a great time, and I'm helping people. For me, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah. That really is the best part. Getting in a home and eating.
Oh, yeah.
Getting paid thousands for it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wanted to piggyback off that, because that was really the biggest hump I had in this job. Like, I was kind of like, I was below mediocre. I remember when me and Gideon finally teamed up, he's like, look, Thomas, I gotta be honest. What did you say? Remember?
I was like, what did I say? Like, the first year, like, I didn't really respect you because you were a scrub.
That's what he said. He was a scrub, but he was right, because the whole first year I had Domino's as a job with solar. So I was moonlighting delivery. And so I never had that full commitment mentality you're talking about, where I would go out in the day, and if I had a bad day, so what? I'm going to, deliver pizzas from 8 to midnight, or, I was pretty much doing like 4 or 5 hour closing shifts, but I could walk away with like $100 in tips on the weekends, or $200. And I was moonlighting that. One, it was exhausting because I was barely getting sleep. And the commission job, solar, that was obviously, I was failing in it, because I needed like a stupid amount of energy to get myself there. And so my manager pulled me aside, Vic Silva and Will Silva, and they told me, it was really Vic. He told me the reason that I'm not doing well is because I still work Domino's. And he was just like, you need to quit Domino's and go all in. And he was like, and it's only when you give yourself no other option but to succeed here that you're going to do well. And I took it one step further. Is not only did I quit Domino's, I moved out of the house, because I was like one of the local boys that I had gotten the job through a barber. And so I moved out of my parents' house because I was skipping correlations sometimes, just laying in bed. And I went to their apartment complexes where now I had rent to pay for the first time in my life. And that's literally what took me from like below average, mediocre. That boosted me up. And I'll never forget when I finally got a big check. First thing I did was buy a ring for my wife. And then from then on, it was like, okay, let's just make money to get married. And so I always had like some goal I was chasing. But the turn of events for me was quitting that second job. That second job, I thought it was keeping me afloat, but it was really holding me back from growing. And a lot of people have stuff like that in their life, that they think they have something, but really it's that complacency, that comfortability that is holding you back from committing full time to a task.
Yeah, I love that, man, because, talking about management, you see a lot of new guys, and the way they'll talk is, yeah, I'll try this out. And, I still got my other job. And I already know, I'm like, dude.
They say that, yeah.
Yeah, like, you're not going to do good. You're going to get exhausted. It's just, most of what we do is 80% of it's mindset.
Yep.
And it's all emotional. Yep. So if your head's somewhere else, if you're thinking about your other job, it's just going to take away from what you have here.
Oh, yeah.
And I know if a guy has a second job, I know it's just a matter of time before he quits.
Yep.
Or if I see some potential in him, I'll pull him aside and say, hey, man, you would be way better off leaving that other job and just committing 100%. And the guys that do end up just blowing up after that. It's just the coolest thing.
That's a smart strategy. So you wait until they have a good success moment to 100%. Try to build. Wow. Well, that's a great strategy, because I remember mine, it was like the opposite. I was in a low point. And I was literally having the conversation, let him know I was about to quit. And I don't know how, but like he talked me off the ledge. But what a good approach to jump on that success, and then, you're pretty much pitching to exponentially multiply, right?
100%. Because then you have this guy who has his second job, and you tell him, hey man, you just made $2,000 this week off of what, 3 sales? Mm-hmm. Like, do you think you can do that next week? And the conversation is, yeah, I can do that next week.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what's the purpose of the other job?
Yeah.
And then they would say, well, I need some security. I need some stability. And then you kind of just, and my dad, I give him props to him. He probably instilled this mindset. The first thing he told me is you never want to work for anybody. You want to be your own boss. I didn't know what that meant until I got into sales, and I thought, okay, yeah, I want to be my own boss, set my own time. If I want to take my family out to Hawaii, I can do that. If I want to buy an expensive ring, I can do that. If I can't, I can't. But that's the first thing he told me. The second thing he told me is that really changed my mind about it was, I lost my train of thought here, was he instilled this thought of,
well, first it was be your own boss.
Be your own boss.
Right.
And the second thing we're talking about having the second job is gratitude. Mm-hmm. Gratitude. Always be grateful for what you have, because somebody has it worse. And, we have a lot of guys circling back that are homeless. Some guys, their partners aren't so supportive. Some people, everyone's in a different situation, and you help them make, $2,000, $3,000 every single week and watch their life change. You instill confidence in their life. They buy their first car, their brand new car for the first time, and it just changes their life. And I truly believe that sales is a game of personal development. You're just helping people be a better version of themselves. So
it gives you that feeling of purpose when you see, your homies that you bring out, and then they get good at the job, and then you see them get their paychecks. Like bringing my brother out here, it's like, it's awesome. You know what I mean? It gives you fulfillment. But I'm curious, like you do a lot of recruiting, yeah? So what would you say is like the biggest indicator of top talent? Like what are you looking for when you're out recruiting?
You know what's crazy? The guys that I think are going to do great, the extroverted, in your face, make you laugh, they really don't make it sometimes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's like the quiet, introverted guy.
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
I consider myself to be somewhat of an ambivert. So I could be extroverted. I could be out there, life of the party.
I'm the same way.
And then my battery, social battery goes down, and I need to retreat to I need alone time. I need to recharge.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay being alone by myself, and just I'm okay being a loner. I actually see myself as a lone wolf sometimes, to my detriment.
Right.
But I also love being in front of people and just laugh and have a good time. But the ambiverts are great because when you're with the customer, you're kind of neutral, right? And you will find customers who are a little bit shy, reserved. Mm-hmm. And if you're also introverted, you can control that, and you can understand that. If you meet a person who's just over the top, excited, hey, what's up, man? You know how to turn that up. The problem with an extrovert is they don't know how to turn it down. So I'm dealing with a new rep. His name's Keyshawn. This guy's an extrovert.
Oh, we know Keyshawn.
I know 3 Keyshawns, bro. Keyshawn's a good name.
Yeah, Keyshawn. And he's so extrovert. He will make you laugh. You'll end up hugging him, but he doesn't know how to turn that down. So some customers will literally get scared of that, and they'll think, why is this guy so excited? So I've had to teach them, like, hey man, when you got the deal, lower the enthusiasm, because then the customer will think, why is this guy excited for this deal? Right? Like, you got the deal, it's done. Like, get excited about them, but not about the deal. Right? So extroverts have a hard time controlling their energy and their emotions, versus I feel like introverts, you can teach them to raise their energy level up, but it's hard to tell an extrovert to come down. Right?
That's interesting. Yeah, we've kind of experienced that in the commitment side of it, because extroverts, we can kind of I say we. Yeah, I like that ambivert, that word you said, because I do like being alone as well a lot. But I guess I would identify more as an extrovert, but I think that what I've seen myself and other extroverts that look like they're going to be studs is that you can put on a front and kind of pretend that you're more committed than you really are. And I'm telling you, man, the first round of recruiting we had extrovert after extrovert after extrovert, and these guys are like, I love this job. This is my natural calling. I'm going to do the best you've ever seen. And they never even step foot on a door. And then you get guys who are more intimidating, who are like, man, I'm really not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I need to know what to say. Can I train a little longer? It's almost like a homeowner, because those people are actually making a decision in their head, that are questioning their abilities. People who just guarantee they can do no matter what, those are people who fail credit. Those are the people who will sign the deal and then cancel when you walk away.
100%.
It's the people that are really wanting to make an educated decision, that are going to stick long. And like you're saying, they're more teachable, or at least easier to teach, because even extrovert you can teach. That was another big thing I had to learn, was like how to mirror a situation. And I learned that from Jordan Belfort. In that Way of the Wolf, he talks about bottled energy. Either that or Taylor McCarthy. But you can have energy, but it doesn't have to be blaring. It could be bottled.
Yeah, it could be bottled, and people know your enthusiasm. People know if you believe what you say.
Yeah.
Right? And the biggest thing I look for at the end of the day is coachable. That's really all I care. Like, are you coachable? Are you committed? And there is some level of coachable, committed, and commission, right? If the commission excites you, you're going to do great at this job. But if you're looking for like an hourly, as soon as a rep says, is this hourly? I'm like, no, this is not hourly, right? You get paid what you earned. And if they look at the job differently, or like, okay, yeah, this is probably not for me. And I'm like, yeah, this is probably not for you, you know? But if they're okay with commission, and they're okay earning what they deserve, and they're okay with the highs and lows and learning through that, then I know they're going to do well.
Well, when you get a recruit that's brand new, how do you go about training them? Like, what's first steps in getting them to, to be independently, like, being able to knock?
Yeah. So when I first managed my office 2 years ago, and take in mind the company that I worked for, they had this path to leadership, to management. So it was rep, top rep, assistant manager. So you were running leads, you were training new reps, hopping them in the car, ride along. And then from assistant manager, you can go into something called manager in training, where they flew you out to Kansas and they had this whole, 2-week seminar thing. And then you can, then you were considered for an office for manager. And we actually had co-managers. So it wasn't just one manager, it was a co-manager. But that was the path. And I knew the path, and I knew the levels, and I knew what it took. And at the end of the day, it was really production, right? But what was the question again?
How do you train brand new reps to get independently knocking?
Yes. So when you get a new rep, you have to realize that there's a lot going on in their mind, and you want to just take as much decision fatigue. What I mean by that is obviously like the pitch. Like, we tell them, like, you need to know the pitch, like from bottom to top to bottom. You want to say your pitch without even like thinking, right? And it's so funny because you'll meet reps who they'll come into the office the next day, role play, and they'll say their pitch, and I'll ask them like, hey dude, did you practice your pitch? Yeah, I studied it for an hour. I'm like, no, you didn't. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Off of that role play?
Yeah, I'm like, no, you didn't. Right? Then another rep comes, says it word for word, bomb to bomb, right? Because you don't want to, when you're at the door, you don't want to think about what you have to say.
Yeah.
You want to think about the distraction or the dog that's barking, right? Or
Right.
the objection, right? You don't have time to think about the pitch. So when it comes to new reps, like our first top priority is know the pitch like word for word, because you don't want to think about that when you're at the door. That's one thing off your list. And once they've mastered the pitch, then we'll go through objections, right? I need to think about it. So there's levels to it again.
Where does your pitch come from? Who's structuring that? How do you guys structure that?
So obviously there's company pitch.
Okay.
And then there's the pitch that actually works, right?
What does that company pitch look like? They provide that on a pamphlet or something?
Yeah, so there's like a sheet, and we tell it. The way we recruit is, hey, if you want a position in this job, here's the pitch. If you come back the next day and you did good, you're hired. If you come back the next day and you don't know your pitch, we're not bringing you on.
Oh, wow, that's really unique. I think they did something like that for recruiting in Jungle U, where they had them send a video of themselves doing the pitch.
Yeah.
The only problem is the pitch that they had, it was not the pitch I preferred, but still, that's actually very smart. And you have them do in front of the office, or
100%
do it
in front
privately?
of everybody.
That's what I like.
Yeah,
to
like
hear.
during 11 to 11:30 to 12, they're, hey man, let's see your pitch. And yeah, they'll be nervous, they'll fumble. We're like, keep going. And if they say the pitch word for word, that's all we care about.
Okay.
Right.
It shows a commitment.
There you go. Yeah, it shows, hey, I went home, I studied this maniacally, like if it was a test. And what's crazy, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a firefighter, you have to go to school first, and then you get the job. But for sales, it's kind of the opposite. You get the job, and then you study a lifetime, right?
Wow. Yeah. On the job.
Yeah, on the job. I'm still learning from you. I'm still learning from Gideon. I'm still learning from, like, I kid you not, I will pick his brain even though he's new, because I've learned a lot of nuggets from new people. Mm-hmm. I never want to get to a place where I'm a know-it-all. Like, dude, I'm hearing podcasts, I'm reading books, I'm looking at the new guy, and I'm like, bro, that was fire.
Yeah.
Right?
Luke, I remember, Luke, you said that your first, issue is that you were, like he said, thinking too much about what you had to say for the pitch.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Once you got over that, what were you focusing on?
The pitch is obviously like an important part as well, for sure, most definitely. But also just I'd say just knowing the pitch back in my hands and just more confidently knowing what to say and how to get through the objections, the smoke screens, because that's what the homeowner is always going to pull out of their hat, right? And so, and I think just talking to homeowners, getting to them on a personal level, breaking preoccupation. Yes. That's what it was. Yeah.
That's been our biggest focus.
And that's been good. Yeah. Because if you go straight into that sales pitch, it's going to be like, okay, this guy's salesy. Yep, yeah. No thanks. But when you just comment something maybe they're wearing, they're a Dodgers fan, I'll just be like, oh, Dodgers? No, come on. And, in a funny way, or
Perfect.
just, I'll sometimes say, hopefully you guys been able to stay cool out here. It's been an absolute desert. This was a couple days, it was 100 degrees, and now it's 107, so, just stuff like that along those lines,
Focusing all the extra stuff, the relationship, which is honestly, in sales, that's the most important part, is 100%. The relationship
Absolutely.
with the customer.
Yeah.
And I like that if I had to choose any tonality to set for a sales, I would always choose laughing. Always. You talking about the Dodgers, talking about the Heat. If you see an opportunity to get a laugh, that is the tone you want to ride, because that is somebody getting able to enjoy their interaction with you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then, so what we do, Brian, we have this thing called FORM. Have you ever heard of that before?
Is it a family, occupation?
Oh, yeah. Recreation
and
motivation. Oh,
yeah.
man.
These are the questions, yeah.
We abide by that.
You didn't come up with that? I thought you came up with that.
What?
No.
I didn't. Wait, I don't know. I just.
What?
It's been ingrained in me.
Oh, man.
Hey, if you thought I came up with that's only kudos to me. I don't think I ever claimed it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But wait, do you know where you learned that? Were you taught through?
Same. No idea, man. Probably heard it from sales trainer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess where I got it, I would say probably Ike and Jensen. Out of all the sales trainers we've had, I've always gotten the most from him. I almost, yeah, that's a problem I have. But I have a select few trainers that I listen to when we have our trainings. But
yeah,
to be honest, I really have no idea where I got form. But I've realized through experience that really is the most important thing. I'm looking for certain cues on all those categories, because if you can find one, that's usually what someone's gonna identify their personality with: their family, their job, their hobby, or religion or politics.
Yeah, people love talking about themselves.
Oh yeah,
right. And the coolest thing is, I've always had this. My teachers have always told me, you're a great listener, right? So I know how to ask a question about you, right? Just listen, nod, cool. And then you just feel like more connected to me. And I had no idea where that came from, but, and again, you know, I grew up in an alcoholic home where, you know, dad came back drunk most of the time, and I didn't know if he was going to come back drunk or if he was going to come back sober, if he was going to come back upset and angry. And so I had to read my dad's body language really, really quick. And that really helped me with sales, because I do it at a hyper, I'm sure you guys do it, where you're looking at the homeowner and you're like, man, what kind of, is he in a good mood? Is he in a bad mood? So you're studying the customer's body language, but you're also mirroring them, listening to them. And when you're talking to like new hires, you have to teach them that 80% of the sale is just your body language, your tonality. Like,
Yep.
Sure, the pitch is important. Study it, know it, because you need to know where to go next. I think that's where new hires get probably stumped. Like, okay, where do I go next? The customer just said he wanted to do this. Like, what's next, right? But also realizing that the day the game changed for me was realizing, oh, I just need to have fun and help family. Like, most of this is just relationship building. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of people, you'll realize, buy from you over somebody else is because they feel better with you. It's not about, again, sales trainers, right? It's not about the deal. It's about the feel.
Wow, that's a good one.
I love that.
I like that one.
Customers will pay way more money with you because the experience was like way better.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Fire.
Wow. And I like you said, body language is huge, because 70-80% of communication is your body language stance. What I try to teach the guys is I show them a comedian, the way comedians stand. They kind of stand, I like to say belly out, kind of like they're almost like slouching.
Slouching, yeah.
Yeah, when they talk with the mic, you know, they even if you watch Shane Gillis, like when he talks, he does this, but you notice his like belly's still out, and that's just, it exudes confidence. Like and I remember when you were first starting, do you remember that was one of the biggest things we had to get going, when you used to kind of hunch over, and you sounded good. And now I've caught you at doors, and you are like leaned back, you like have this power stance, and you're just really confident. And that body language and tonality, it's something you just can't say no to. Yeah. It's amazing to see. It's like a metamorphosis of a man. So I really enjoy that, man. That's cool. But so when you do trainings, right, would you still feel like that's a big part of getting a new guy? Like, how do you ingrain what you need to train to attach it to how they need to pitch? Are you focusing on body language?
100%. So most of it's better caught than taught. And I'm sure you've heard that.
Of course.
West Coast, right? I didn't really know what that meant until, you know, you get into management and you realize that people are going to do what people see, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you can go up there in a training and tell them, give them a whole cool lecture presentation about body language and tonality and pitch. And some of it they will retain, but at the end of the day, they're going to copy paste you.
Okay.
And I realized that in training and management, there's only two phases of this. It's a people problem, or it's a process problem, right? And what I mean by that is, okay, you either just didn't hire the right person, he's not fit for it, or you haven't established that relationship with that new hire where they trust you and they respect you, or process, right? They started reinventing the wheel. So the coolest thing is seeing, you know, new guys who are hungry and after it, they jump in the car. We do ride-alongs, so we're driving around, they're with you. It's more like a one-on-one thing. They see you pitch, they see your mannerisms, and they copy-paste it. They do it, and they see success. And the coolest thing is literally, I lauded myself, the two top producers of our office, Anthony and Josh, literally, if I go knock with them and I just hear them, I'm like, dude, I say it like that. Like, I stand like that. Like, that's my joke, right? But I'm cool with that. I'm super proud of that because, and they've also innovated and done their own thing. Mm-hmm. But what's cool is when a rep says, okay, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to stand the way my manager stands. I'm going to talk the way he talks. And it's cool because the manager who trained me into alarms, his name was Tyler Pucci. And the dude who just had a big smile on his face, stood up straight. And I would find myself talking the way he does. I would literally turn my brain off and I would just go into like Tyler Pucci mode. And I get deals. And I'm like, this is great. This is amazing. Eventually I outgrew it and then I implemented my own stuff, right, from him and from other trainers. and I did my own thing, and it was amazing.
Wow.
But for new reps, you want that copy paste.
Wow.
You want to have that hard conversation of, hey, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go for the top producer, copy what he does, copy his mannerism, copy his jokes, copy his pitch, like word for word, and you'll see success. And the day I started doing that is the day that, my paycheck went up. And then eventually, so what I call it is you want to imitate, and then you can improvise. But imitate so you can improvise. Like, don't start improvising first. Like, imitate first as much as you can. And then when you're ready, you can start, doing your own.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is probably the greatest piece of advice you get for someone trying to do a sales pitch. Just do as I do. And our top guy, Sam Stanley, I wish he was here. I mean, I should post the clip. That was his. I think he said lauded yourself. I was also flattered when he on the podcast we had originally. He said that the way that he did well is he just copied. I took him out and I knocked like 3 doors. He copied me. The next day, this kid got 2 sales on his first day, and then he was help training another guy that needed help. And he's like, look, I'll tell you how. Want to know how I did good? I copied Tommy's pitch. So you want to know how to do good, Trent? Copy my pitch. Watch how I'm doing it. And that's that imitating that I like imitating to improvise. It's kind of like staying on, like the only script you should know is knowing the script of somebody who's doing it the right way.
100%.
Instead of just seeing paper, you see a version of somebody that's having success, mirror them and you might have it too. That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good piece of advice, man.
And if you go from like a Christian standpoint, right? The Apostle Paul says, follow me as I follow
Christ. Wow.
Christ. Like, hey, if you follow me,
wow,
I promise you I'm following Christ as much as possible.
Wow.
And then you have the idea where Paul, mentors Timothy, and then Timothy's at the point where he can walk on his own. And I'm sure Timothy had a lot of mannerisms like Paul. Paul literally says, walk like me, talk like me, like do as I do. Paul becomes a pastor. He becomes his own person. And then Paul tells, hey, train people to be like-minded. Hey, you go find your other Timothy. So with sales, it's just the same way. Like the way we used to train and hire, we used to get tons of people and we used to do mass trainings, and that just doesn't work. You're going to see a lot of guys fall under the crack. But what I've seen work is like the one-on-one. Hey, we'll train one guy, invest in him 100%, and then, mentor him, copy paste, and then move on to the next. Slow growth is always way better. Just by experience.
Shadowing's powerful though.
Oh,
that's huge. What a great correlation, Bryan. Follow me as I follow Christ. Seriously, I think maybe that's a huge thing that most managers are just unwilling to do, is they're unwilling to be on the door with their guy. And I'm telling you right now, I remember those first days with Liam, first days with really almost everybody. Like I wouldn't consider myself a manager if I haven't been on a door with you at least once, twice, or a week when you're in your low point, and which is what you're going to be doing with me. When me and him tackle as closers with these new set of guys, if we're not in a deal, we need to be on a door with the setter who needs the most help, because that imitation, that is the best form of training you could get. Not motivation or hype. It's straight up one-on-one. That's mentorship. Do as I do. They can see your confidence. They can believe in your confidence, believe in the results for you. And then just like Luke said, there's other people that have done it already. There's people that have done it in worse circumstance. Yep. If I can see someone do it for myself, that is the best way to believe it's possible.
They know it works. Yep.
Exactly. Wow. That's got to be the biggest takeaway, because I'm telling you, in managements I've been a part of, in teams that I've been given going, the ones where we had the lowest retention and the lowest numbers are the ones where the managers are the most separated from being actually in the grind with the team.
Yeah, they're detached. They're disconnected, right?
Exactly.
So with management, there's 3 layers to it. There's self-leadership, and that's the hardest one, right? Where you get to lead yourself, where, hey, I really want to stay up till 1 or 2, but I got to go to sleep. I really don't feel like going to the gym, but I'm going to do it anyways. I really don't want to, self-leadership is really hard, right? I said I was going to read a book. I'm going to do it. Self-leadership is so hard because it's so easy to tell somebody else, hey, you do it, while I don't do it. So it really starts with self-leadership. The best leaders that I followed were great at self-leadership. Like, you can tell they led themselves, they led their families. And then there's servant leadership, right? Where you actually show the people under you that you care about them, you're willing to serve them and put them first. I have a new hire that, and this is Keyshawn again, who he was almost going to quit because he was so broke to the point where he had no gas money to show up to the meetings. And I told him, hey man, I'll pay for your gas. I probably paid for his gas 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. And at first I thought, man, am I spoiling him too much? Is that something wrong? And somebody in leadership told me, no, you're showing him that you care about him, because any other manager, hey man, I don't have gas to even show up to the job. Oh, wow, you're fired. Wow. But if you show him, hey, if gas is the only thing keeping you from knocking doors, and dude, I literally paid gas probably like a whole month for him, and he's been almost our top producer. So it's worth it. It's well worth it. Hey, I'll pay $40 and you pay it forward, because people work hard for you when you're committed to them.
100%. I think I've learned that from our manager, and I think Jeff Bezos talk about it, where best way to spend your money is to just reinvest it back into your company.
100%.
And that's what I remember my managers taught me, is that if you really want your team to grow, you have to be willing to sacrifice thousands of dollars toward them so that they can feel that you'll do anything to help them succeed. And that's very big, whether it's an incentive trip, like you were talking about the sushi and the theater runs, whether it's something that you're willing to put your money on the line just to have a great time, or if you're willing to put the money on the line to get them another bite to eat or another tank of gas. Like, you can't ever say no, because people are going to go to battle for you.
And people remember that.
100%.
People won't remember what you say. They'll remember how you made them feel. The managers that...
I got goosebumps on that one, dude. I don't know.
The managers that I remember are the managers that made me feel good. They believed in me. I remember one used to... I worked summer sales before. It probably wasn't even a thing, but one of my managers would pick me up from West Coast, drive me to an area, and around 7:30, 8 o'clock, bring me back to the college.
Wow.
Whole summer. I mean, sure, I had my best summer, and I gave him a lot of closes, right? Like, now looking back, I see that, like, hey, it also paid off for him. But I think I was like 19 at the time. I didn't have my car yet. This was after my accident, by the way. But he was willing to pick me up from college, drive me back, and I remember him. Like, I will forever remember him because it showed that he cared about me. He believed in me. And the managers that I could care less about are the ones who showed me, like you said, that they were detached, invested, kind of just cracked the whip. You go get the deal while I'm out here taking the day off,
I think it's like almost it goes both ways. Like, I think as a manager, like, if a rep is coming to you and like wants to help and wants to get better, then you're going to put just as much effort back into him. You know what I mean? If he's giving you 100%, you're going to match him with 100%,
Yeah. And the way it was before, this was 2 years ago, I used to invest 80% of my time with the 20% low performers. So I used to spend all of my time with people who just weren't getting it, weren't showing up to the meetings, didn't memorize their pitch. And I would spend so much of my time with those underperformers, when somebody told me you need to do the opposite. You need to spend your time, 80% of your time with the 20% top producers. I don't know if that makes sense.
Wow. Yes.
The guys who are already killing it, give all of your time, all of your attention. Even if they came off a big month, call them and say, bro, you killed it. You knocked it off the park. I want to take you out for lunch or something. And those top performers are going to keep doing it because, you're taking them to the next level. So now if I see somebody who's not showing up to the office, who is coming up with excuses, I'll just cut off communication.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'll just look for the top performer and I'll say, hey, I'm going to invest all my time and energy, because as a manager, you want to be the guy. They have to earn your, like, my time's valuable,
Absolutely.
And I want the newer guys to be like, hey, I love it when a new guy, and I actually have messages me, yo, you killed it. How did you do it? Can I go out with you? And I'm like, heck yeah. Right.
That's what you want.
That's what I want. I'm like, bro, come in my car. I'll show you the books. I'll show you I'll show you the secret sauce. Right? Yeah. I'm not trying to hold it to myself, but the reps who are complaining all the time, oh, I couldn't show up because my uncle's mom's cat died. I'm like,
you don't want to help.
I won't even respond to that text. I'm like, okay, it's on you.
I'm curious, what are your biggest like obstacles as managing? You've been managing for 2 years now?
Yeah, 2 years now.
Okay. What would you say is like the biggest thing that you encounter that kind of prevents you from like getting to the next level, or how do you overcome it?
So what's keeping me from like the next level?
Yeah, what would you say is like, okay, like let me try and rephrase that. Like, obviously, everyone encounters obstacles, reps at the lowest level up to the highest level. What would you say is like the biggest thing that you have to overcome to get to that next level?
Yeah, so I'd say the higher you go, the less it is about yourself and the more it is about others. So I think that's the biggest obstacle right now is probably realizing that, I love knocking doors, and I'm going to keep knocking doors till I can't. Obviously, I love it. The other part of, so there was the self-leadership, there was the servant leadership, and then there was the leading from the front. So my biggest challenge right now is I want to get as many guys. You want to copy paste a rep. I want a rep who beats me.
Oh yeah, that feels.
That's
good.
the part
where I like to tell them I measure my success by how successful you become.
100%. And it's this idea of like Yoda and Luke, right?
Yeah,
where Luke surpasses Yoda. Yoda dies and passes it on to Luke, and
right.
You see this happen a lot. Where if you want to be the best, you gotta beat the best.
Right.
Wow. Kobe Bryant was always trying to chase Michael Jordan down, and you see LeBron trying to. So it's really cool, right? We look at these guys, and like for you, I would just look at Tommy down and say, "Hey, I'm gonna beat your record, whatever it is. Figure out what it is." And
he did.
No joke.
He did. His 6 deals in a week was my record out the window.
That's crazy.
And I remember when I was like, "Dude, you're gonna be a closer." And at first he was like, "I'm not ready for that." I'm like, "Okay, you might not be ready for that, but let me tell you, when I was in your shoes, you're doing better than I did." So me seeing your ability right now in the position you have, you made the most of it. I just know in the journey, there's no doubt in my mind that one day you're going to outperform me as a closer and a manager and everything. And it really starts with exactly what you're saying. The opportunity you're given, look around you and say, I want to do the absolute best. I love that line. You said to be the best, beat the best.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a great line.
Yeah.
And I remember as a rep looking at my manager and saying, okay, he did 25 this month. All right, I'm going to do 26. And it took a while, but eventually I beat him. And he sent me a text, looks like you beat me, man. And yeah, given a couple months, I was the manager next in line. Because again, you want to be the clear choice, right? And he moved up as a regional. And it was so cool because there's just levels to this, man. And it's just so exciting because you never know who you're going to change, whose life you're going to change. You're never going to know. You're just never going to know that person, hey, man, I was broke all the time, and look, I got married to this person, I bought this ring, and I did this, or cool, now I get to live in this place, or now I get to spend so much money on this. You just never know whose life you're going to change. I try to keep that in the forefront of my mind. So to answer your question, that's my challenge, to set my goals aside because I want to buy a home, and I want my kids never to worry about what school they're going to go to. I grew up in a broke home.
Same.
No joke.
Yeah.
Like going to school, all the kids had Jordans and Nikes, and I had what's that brand?
Skechers.
Skechers.
Oh yeah, Skechers, baby.
Yeah, man, I grew up with Skechers.
Oh yeah. Velcro, my boy.
Yes, Velcro.
I used to wear them too.
Dude, they made a comeback. I saw the pickleball championship this last week.
Yeah.
Dude was sponsored by Skechers. He had a hat, Skechers, and I was like,
Wow.
is this dude wearing Skechers?
Coming back strong.
He's
Let's
sponsored
go.
by Skechers. No, but man, yeah.
So that's my biggest motivation is I never want to be broke. I never want my wife to go through that. I never want my kids to go through that. And obviously leave a legacy. But if you want another level to this, I never want somebody else's family to go through that.
Wow.
That's so fire. That's awesome.
And that's hard because sometimes we're so self-centered on our mission and our goals. Like it's hard to look past another person and say, I want that for you as well. So that's really where it becomes life-changing. And one of my managers told me, if you want to be a manager, you have to realize that it has to be more than just money. Because Thomas can agree with me. As a sales rep, you can make way more money than a manager.
Oh, that's kind of true. That's actually very true.
You don't have to worry about correlation, reps, hours, tax right. You don't have to worry about all the back end stuff. So as a sales rep, you just go and crank.
Yeah.
But as a manager, sometimes you take all that risk and you take all that responsibility and stress. So going into management, your intention shouldn't be, I want to make a lot of money. It should be, I want to change somebody else's life. And yeah, it'll pay back tons of dividends. So
I have one more. I have a question. This is kind of twofold, so I don't want to get lost because it kind of builds on itself. My first question is, the team you're at right now, did you recruit these guys or did you like inherit them when you joined the office as a manager?
Good question. So the one right now, predominantly inherited.
Okay.
Predominantly. We recruit more than we see like reps leave. That's kind of the rule of thumb. You want to recruit more than you see reps, because there's always, the sales, it's a churning door. So we see a lot of retention's not great. Because it's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But the idea is, kind of like the parable of the sower. You want to throw as many seeds out, and if you get one tree out of it, hey, it was totally worth it. So most of it is inherited, but we have a lot of newer guys who are just killing it because we have our program set. We have our shirt program. We have a lot more incentives. The other thing that's helped a lot, and this is leading me to the third step, is leading from the front. As a manager, if you're not beating everybody in your team so badly, like, you're not doing it right. Because now when I go up for trainings and they're like, okay, this guy has something to say. Thomas just came out with like 5 this week, or Thomas just made, X amount of dollars. Like, they're more attentive to hear you now because you're doing it.
So do you have to do your own independent sales as a manager?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, I had no idea. I didn't know that's how they did alarms.
Yeah.
So you independently go out and get deals, but you're also influencing others to get deals?
100%.
Okay. Well, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but where does your incentive as a manager? You're getting some sort of override?
Overrides.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Overrides.
Okay. I was going to say, because with solar, it's not that simple. Unfortunately, we can't just one tap, and then it just takes a lot more experience to get a deal through, and to, again, not just get someone to sign a line and cancel on you later. So the structure we have is setter, closer, and then manager. But man, that is I feel like there's a very honest structure that you have to run there, because you have to keep yourself accountable to your reps that you're that you really are. There's actually one guy in our company that does it. His name's Andrew Fuller, and I've seen Andrew Fuller's guys are all loyal to him, and I see a big reason is because he does as much self-genning as he can. Now, I mean, I don't know how they're able to pull that off all the time, but it's kind of inspired me to try to. Well, the only thing that I fear is that if you're trying to do a lot of self-genning, you're kind of limiting your ability to get a bigger team, because the whole point that our managers set up, how they have an office of 200-300 people, is that they've learned how to delegate the tasks to different people so that the closers can close every second of the day instead of knock doors half the day. So if you can get a setter making leads all day and a closer closing leads all day, then that just boosts productivity. However, I mean, man, that style's hard, man. That's a great kind of a segue now. I'm wondering is when you get new recruits versus the recruits you're inheriting, what's the best way you're earning the loyalty of the inherited guys to not think they can big dog you, or you haven't earned their respect? And then how are you earning the respect and loyalty of the newest guys that you recruit?
Yeah, so the way we have it is we have, I think we have about 30 guys now in the office, guys and girls. And we have leaders, right? So we have mentors, leaders, guys who are closers, guys who've done it. And when we interview somebody, that leader will interview that person and take them on. So we're more divided into squads, right? So we have about 3 or 4 squads, and they're divided into car groups. And it's good that way because, the mentor, the leader, the person who's closing, the closer, is investing them, teaching them, and getting them to the next level. So really our program is setter. So they're setting, right? They're going door to door. Yeah,
I thought everybody comes in as an independent.
Oh, no, they come as setters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this program's fairly new as of a year. And we've just seen a crazy growth. We've seen more people stick, but they're setting doors. They're setting appointments same day. Hey, let me get my manager out here.
Yep. He's
in the area. And sometimes we'll get there in 20, 30 minutes, right? Because we're closing another deal. Mm-hmm. We'll drive out to that area, close the deal for them, and it's a split 50-50.
Okay.
And sure, it's not a crazy commission. It's 350, sometimes 450. It's split right down the middle until they get their 10 sets. Mm-hmm. Once they get their 10 sets, then they're closing their own deals, right? And from time to time, they're still going to need the manager's help. But we've seen that work because a lot of new reps, when we tell them, hey, you close your own deal, you get double that. Mm-hmm. They're like, cool, I just promoted myself. And they kind of earned their right to be in the team.
Okay.
So it works. I mean, it just works.
It's kind of the same system here, and it does, because you don't want to, like, you want to give someone an opportunity, but overloading them with all that too soon,
Will discourage them, yeah.
Yeah, it really does discourage. And that's why solar wasn't doing well for a long time. But then when they set up like a setter, it was like what you were doing or what I was doing with the construction job, where they're paying those setters pennies. You need to give a setter an opportunity to make a pretty decent chunk and not have to take on the full workload until, like you just said, they earn their spot.
Earn their spot, yeah.
And our is, we actually have a 20 deal. A 20 deal. Once you hit 20 deal, then you're on the 40-60 split. And then from there, you're on a mission pretty much to get 3 recruits under you. And then also you need to be hitting the same deal sequence, and then you get promoted to closing. But that's another great structure, because self-gen closing, again, you're limiting productivity. And if you guys have seen a surge in productivity, it's because really you're helping delegate the workload a little bit. 100%. Yeah. And you're getting someone to introduce themselves, and then get someone who can, all right, now let me handle the signatures. And you're dividing the time load, getting the workload more efficient. And so when it actually comes to someone being a closer, what our management have set up is they never want someone to be a closer and then fail. They require you to have 3 recruits so that your productivity will be high as a closer, because you have 3 guys like I have here
working under you.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you know, the guys who come in day one, they wouldn't be able to close a $50,000-$60,000 account. You know what I mean? There's no way. Mm-hmm. You know, so that skill set has to be learned, and then once they learn it, then obviously the results are going to translate, and then they're ready to, you know, to start closing. And they get their recruits, then their managers. You know.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's almost like, I mean, the number is like the litmus test for it, but at the same time, it's usually around 10 or 15 deals. You can tell, yep, this guy's got it.
He's ready.
He's about 100%. To be ready. He just has to push himself through that self-management stage.
Yeah, because
to be consistent.
You can't close a deal unless you open it.
Wonderful way to
put
put it.
And that's why guys like that, like Luke, are great, because you're learning how to open up a customer and make them feel comfortable and make them laugh, and it's great, man.
Yeah. And then that next stage comes with shadowing as well. We say, all right, you're ready to do it. You're going to come watch me do some deals. And then, do as I say as I do. And I really, really have a lot of potential here with these guys. Right now, there's 4 of us in this room. But what you don't see is that this coming Saturday, the 24th of August, we have 13 young men coming from their summer breaks, getting recruited from the college, and one's flying from Florida, one's flying from Texas, one's coming down from NorCal. We're opening an apartment. So when a growth spurt like this happens, that's why I'm so glad we had you on the podcast. We are trying to get as much management resources as possible, because I think the number one thing that I am focusing on when I choose guys like Gideon as a partner, Liam and Luke and some other guys like Sam, I don't want to just have a bunch of people come in and, like you say, be another rotating door. Because we are a remote location from our mother office, I'll say, and we go about once a month, and every time we go, I would say 80 to 90% of the office has changed every single time without fail. And the only couple guys that are there are the guys who are setter caps, who've been there for, they've earned their stay. But what we want is every single guy that walks in this door, it has like a 90 to 100% retention capability. And what it really came from is in our recruiting process, we're like double the more selective. And you just gave me another idea with that whole pitch thing. Because, man, we were more in the beginning like, all right, anybody who wants a shot, come on, let's go. Let's just start getting the team.
We used to call it, hey, if you have 2 feet and a heartbeat, you're hired. Like, if you can breathe, like, come on over,
Dude, yeah, sometimes it's like that. It's just like, please, I need someone to knock a door with me.
Yeah,
but yeah, now like what we're pursuing is just building value, and then once you have that value, we want to be selective, because if you can I would rather have one guy that's getting 3 deals a week than 3 guys getting 3 deals a week.
Oh, 100%.
Because then you have a bunch of guys who are only producing 1. But if you can get 3 guys that each produce 3 a week, now you have exponential growth. And that's what we are pursuing in this establishment, is that every guy will earn his right to be here. and every guy will be on high accountability. He will be high on prioritized by his mentor, his leadership. We don't want people falling through cracks, and we're just looking for all the ways to make sure that everybody gets all the resources they can to succeed, and that we as leaders can look, like you're saying, for a top performer and see, okay, what are the signs where I can get the dog out of him, you know? And yeah, it's a mission, and I'd say right now that that's the adversity we're facing. But we're about to have a growth spurt, and yeah, we need help, man.
Thank
so
you.
yeah, we're looking for guys like you, bro. I'll be honest with you, guys who have experience and guys that are willing to step up. Whether that's one of our newest guys coming in, he just doesn't see it yet. Like I think Luke's got the qualities, I think Liam's got qualities, Sam Stanley. But we're just looking for someone who's willing to step out of that comfort zone. I mean, when you've got a place like West Coast Baptist College where there's people that have spent their whole lives knocking doors and they're not paying rent and, you know, they're not using their money on drugs or alcohol or partying, and we all have a similar mindset to create legacies and families, godly families. I mean, you don't just have the benefit of a well-structured system, but you have the benefit of God being an influence in this team. And that helps us with the competition outside of these walls with other companies out here.
100%. It's so funny as a Christian, you know, I don't really share this a lot, but, you know, if any guy comes out to me and they tell me, bro, what's your secret sauce? Mm-hmm. I'll tell them, before opening that door, I pray.
Wow, that's good.
Because really, this job's a faith job. At the end of the day, you know, people can hate on the job and they can say, oh, you don't have a real job, right? A real job.
Right. Whatever that means.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I love this job because it's faith-based. Like, I don't know. If I go out right now and knock some doors, cool, I might get 3, I might get 4, I might get none.
Yeah.
I might have a bad day. But it's a faith job. And at the end of the day, before I knock every door, there's just this silent prayer, right? Where I'm like, God, I'm trusting you. If I get one, I promise to give you the glory, right? Amen. I get the deal, and I'm like, God, that was all you, right? Because so much of our job is, you know, timing. There's a lot of stuff that is in our control, and I'm gonna work hard as if it all depended on me, but I'm gonna pray as if it all depends on God.
Wow,
that's super powerful, man. Like a lot of our job, yeah, depends on us and our grind and our grit. But if you want to be a top performer and like a killer, like, pray, and you'll see God open doors like from right to left. I kid you not. I'm gonna say this on the podcast because I will. My New Year's my goal 3 years ago was to be on a podcast. I literally wrote it down.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I got a text or message from you randomly, and I'm like, this comes out of like nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm a podcast junkie. I listen to podcasts like not more than I listen to music.
Yeah, I really enjoy them. Conversation is easier for me to listen to. And it comes back to that ambivert thing. If I'm alone, I would, not that I can't listen to music, but I would prefer something that is more conversational tone, that I can have a relaxed heartbeat, and I'm just kind of like meditating almost, like a book, but without shutting off your movement. It kind of
100%.
Yeah, because you're a podcast junkie.
Oh yeah, dude, I love podcasts. Do you guys know who Sam Taggart is?
Oh yeah.
T to D.
Come on now.
Oh yeah.
I read his book and everything.
Come on now.
I got some Sam Taggart. I got some, and again, you know, Electric People. That's a Sunrun's podcast.
Yep.
Obviously, I know Sunrun's your biggest competition, but you know,
not necessarily. We sell Sunrun. You're talking about Sunrun Direct. Yeah. Those direct boys.
But I like hearing from like their DMs and just conversations they have.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, I can listen to Joe Rogan, but you know, long conversations. I forgot who the other guy is.
Theo Vaughn?
Oh no, this one's a good one. Do you know who Andy Elliott is?
Of course. Yes. We know who Andy Elliott is. They've got a Florida operation. What are they? The Spartan Solar?
Spartan,
yeah. Andy Elliott.
Do you want me to baby spoon feed you, or do you want me to tell you the
Dude, that's the kind of trainings I personally prefer.
100%.
I love that I feel like we've split up training versus true training.
True.
Like I mean, if you're going to get trained by a speaker, that speaker needs to have the energy that you would never see anywhere else but a training.
So if it were not for Andy Elliott, and he has no idea who I am, right? I would say he probably saved my marriage.
Wow.
Reason being, again, sales, it's easy to be obsessed, like sports. I'm telling you, I've literally dreamed about pitching. It's
Oh yeah,
I
we've
have
all been
too.
there.
It's that bad, man.
Yes,
where I
sir.
wake up and I've sold them, and I wake up and like, oh man, that was a dream.
Had one this morning where I literally sold someone, but then I wake up. I could swear, and I was bummed out.
It's crazy,
great,
man.
guys.
But my wife has even called me out on it. I think last week, and she's like, "Babe, you're just like, I feel like when you're with me, you're not all there, and I feel like I'm not seen and I'm not heard." And I'm not trying to get like too vulnerable with you guys, but I was like, "What do you mean? Like, your favorite color is pink, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Am I married to the right
That's
right
great.
person?" But what she meant was like, when you're with me, you're at work. When you're at work, you're wishing you're with me. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. And Andy Elliott has really helped. Like wherever your feet are, you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to practice like intentional presence. Like, okay, if I'm at work, I'm cranked up, I'm 100% there. But if I'm with my wife, we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have fun. If I'm at church, we're gonna be there worshiping. And it's just so hard, man. Because in our day and age, like Instagram does not help, Facebook does not help. So, and the reason why I say Andy Elliott helped, because I had a conversation with my wife where, I was making a lot of money, but our marriage was kind of falling apart. And it was literally the conversation of, okay, I work to provide for you, but I'm losing you, So Andy Elliott really helped me, like, bro, you have to, work isn't an excuse. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you're a salesman, you're a killer closer, but you're also a husband, so put her first. And I'm like, oh, shoot, So podcasts, you never know what conversation is going to change you. I was listening to you guys 2 days ago.
No way.
Right? And you guys said something that just like set me back on I think I was listening to him and I was like, this is his first week and he's, first couple weeks and he's killing it. And I forgot something you said, but there's always something that you can learn,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, man, we've learned a lot from you this podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Sure.
I'm going to definitely listen back to some of the nuggets. Man, you said something a minute ago. I want to confirm if this was you, so I'm going to put it in quotes and put your name under it or something. You said that I want to work as hard as if it all depends on me, but I want to pray as hard as if it all depends on God.
100%.
Where did you get that from?
I don't know, man.
Man, that was inspirational. I need that on like
Quotes,
a
dude.
banner above my bed, man. That is so facts. I remember this guy's it was you or you, your very first close. I think it was you, where we were literally trying to break ground. I mean, when we got here, it was not responding, the turf. And it's because we went from Lancaster to Palmdale, and it wasn't the pitch. It was really the demographic. It was just the interaction had to be done differently, different times. Anyway, I remember Gideon, and we went through 3 weeks of grinding, and only Liam walked away with a solid deal. And I remember Gideon was getting gassed, and we were having a lot of faith discussion. And then you remember we went to Omar's house.
Yeah.
I said, Lord, I don't remember exactly what I said, but Lord, I
started praying.
Started praying. I said, we need this deal for Gideon. I pray the homeowner responds to us. And when we walked in there, it was sold the moment we walked in the door. And when we got back in the car, he said, Thomas, I hate to say it, but I think we got this deal because we prayed for it. And I was like, you think?
Yeah.
We know God did, baby. It was amazing.
And I got that from Joe Magzino. I don't know if you know who Joe Magzino is.
No, not familiar.
He works at New Life here in Palm Springs.
Oh,
Palmdale,
New Life.
Palmdale, yeah.
We just visited.
We're just there.
Yeah.
Is he the
so
pastor?
he's the Filipino guy with glasses.
Didn't meet him.
Anyways, but I roomed with him for a summer, just like this. So coming back in here, man, brings me so much memories.
Wow.
Dude, we had so much fun that summer. But he was like the top salesperson.
Really?
And I was like, Joe, what's your secret? He's like, I just pray. I just pray. And I'm like, oh, there's something there. There's something there. And the last thing I'll say about this is, bro, and I have to remember, trust me, I get in my head. I think salespeople, we get in our head and we're like, man, do I suck again?
Yeah. Oh.
You have a Karen who comes out and says, you parked in my driveway. Get her to a job. And you're like, oh, man, maybe she's right. I might cut out for this.
Yeah.
Well, man, we definitely got to have you on again, bro, because this has been great. I think, what time are we pushing right now? You don't even know? Hour and a half. Man, well, this has been wonderful, bro. Thank you for coming. Can't wait to have you back, Bryan. And, man, seriously, thank you for all the wisdom. We're going to pray for you and your team, man. And, that's it. Let's say goodbye. Thomas Perez, I'm signing out. We'll see y'all later.
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 All right. Thanks, Bryan.